Hey everyone, it's James here from goodguitarist.com, and in today's lesson I'm going to show you how to play Something by the Beatles. And this is an incredibly beautiful song that uses quite a few colorful chord shapes. There's a couple bar chords, some bass lines in here that we can learn, a lot of really good stuff. Definitely more in the intermediate range. I've gotten a lot of comments lately asking why I'm doing so much beginner stuff. So I thought I'd throw a few intermediate ones at you. We're going to learn how to strum it, how to do all that, but we're also going to take a look at that electric melody that he plays at the beginning. And I already have a lesson that teaches the solo, so I'll put a link to that in the corner or down below. Before we get started, if you need any help with the fundamentals, I have a free ebook that covers all the basics of rhythm guitar. You'll find a link for that in the corner. Otherwise, let's just get started with the chord shapes needed to play the verse. We start out on a C chord. Then we switch to C major 7, and we just have to lift our index finger for that. Then C7. So we're going back to our C chord, and then we're adding our pinky to the G string at the 3rd fret. Then F, and we can do an easier F where we leave our ring finger and our index finger down and we pivot into easy F. I teach that one in a separate lesson, but basically we skip the first string, 1st fret, 2nd fret, 3rd fret with our pinky, and then the 3rd fret with our ring, cover the thickest string with our thumb. It's a pretty good F chord. We could also do the F bar chord. And coming from a C shape, we leave our ring finger down to pivot into that one. After this, we go back to C, and then we have D7, and we can leave our first finger down and then just add our ring finger to the 2nd fret of the thinnest string and our middle finger to the 2nd fret of the G string. D7, and then G, and we're going to leave our pinky down, and we're just putting our first finger on the 1st fret of the B string and our middle finger on the 2nd fret of the D string. And then we put our ring finger back to where it would go on a G chord. We put our index finger. It's basically we're just going to play a G chord except without our middle finger. So the thickest string is the A string now. And let's just stop there. There's still a little bit more to this section, but let's just stop there and let's try all of that with downstrokes only, counting out each chord so we can get the right number of beats for each chord. Starting off on C, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. F, 2, 3, 4. F, 2, C, and D. 2, 3, 4. D, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So go through that as many times as you need to. First, working your way through the shapes, at your own pace, and then adding that counting and rhythm element to it. And then we can take that a step further with the strumming pattern. It goes like this. And that is one of the most common strumming patterns ever. Down, root, down, down, up. Root just means like a little downstroke that aims for the thicker strings. I've gone over this pattern in a few other lessons. I'll put a link in the corner, but let's just take a minute and go through it right now. The first half of it is down, root, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we count out loud. We play a downstroke on 1, a little downstroke on beat 2, and then we count 3, 4, and we do that over and over again. And then the second half goes 1, 2, down, down, up. So a down on beat 3 and a down up on beat 4, and we practice it by counting 1, 2, down, down, up. 1, 2, down, down, up. And once you're comfortable with each half, we put the whole thing together. 1, 2, 3, 4, down, root, over and over again, you know, get comfortable with it. And then once you're good at doing it slow, steady, accurately at your own pace, then we can do it a little bit quicker. And that's the feeling of the song. And before we add this strumming pattern to our chord progression, there's a couple points where it's not going to fit. When we go from F to C, 4, you know, we're playing F on beats 1 and 2 and C on beats 3 and 4. For that part, we're just going to go down, down, up on each of those chord shapes. So down, down, up, down, down, up, and then back to our regular pattern when we get into the D chord. And there's one more point where we go G into A minor 7. So for that, once again, down, down, up on each of them. Down, down, up, down, down, up, down, root, down, down, up. So try that. Just take a minute, and then when you're ready, we're going to put the strumming together with our chord progression. Starting off on C, 1, 2, 3, 4. The way she moves attracts me like no other lover. Something in the way she woos me. The next part is all based on A minor. We start off with an A minor chord. Then we go to A minor major 7, and that looks like this. So I have my middle finger on the first fret of the B string, my index finger just above it, and then my ring finger on the second fret of the D string. So from lowest to highest, or thickest to thinnest, we skip the thickest string and then open, 2, 1, 1, and then open. And then from there we go to A minor 7, which is just like our A minor chord, but without our ring finger. And then we have a D. And then there's another part that has some bar chords in it. You know, this is the very intro of the song as well. We go. So for that part, we have an F chord. And then we go to an E flat bar chord. So my index finger is barring the 6th fret. It's resting just underneath the thickest string to mute it. And then my ring finger is playing the 8th fret on the D, G, and B strings. And the thinnest string you can get with the base of your index finger, but you don't have to, it's optional. And from this E flat chord, we go into a G over D chord, which is just like that easy F chord that we showed you earlier, but 2 frets higher. So my index finger's on the 3rd fret of B, my middle finger's on the 4th fret, my pinky's on the 5th, my ring's just above it, also on the 5th fret. My thumb mutes the highest string, or the thickest string, and the underside of my index mutes the thinnest string. So try that, going F, E flat, G over D. Definitely the hardest 3 switches in this tune. Luckily, we don't have to play our pattern with it. We can just go. You know, we just strum each one once with the timing of the song. And that timing goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, back into the start of the verse. So let's try that entire section downstrokes only first, because you know it's pretty chordy. It's definitely some stuff that you might not be familiar with. Starting on A minor, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You know I believe in how 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So take some time with that, and then we'll add our strumming pattern. We're going to do it pretty much one time per chord shape, except at the end there where we just play a downstroke and count for those 3 chords at the end. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so we would take everything that we practiced so far and we would play that 2 times, and then we would transition into the bridge. And the transition goes like this. So we do that same thing where we go F, 2, 3, 4, E flat 2, G, 4, and then we strum the A chord 2 times. And that takes us into our bridge. Our bridge goes A, C sharp minor over G sharp. And that is the best way to remember how to play this chord is you play an A minor chord with these 3 fingers. Then you go up 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then your index bars. You're putting all your pressure into those thicker 2 strings. You know, if I lift up these 2, or these, I'm not even holding down these strings. That's just a waste of energy. I'm just pressing those 2 with the pad of my index. Then F sharp minor. Then A over E, which is just an A chord, but we really want to get the thickest string in there. That's the E part of A over E. Then D, G, and then we have a little bass line thing. And before we get to that, let's just practice the chords so far with downstrokes only. Starting on the A chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. You're asking me, will my love grow? 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. I don't know. And from there, we do a bass line thing. It goes like this. So I'm playing an A chord, and then I put my ring finger on the 4th fret of the thickest string. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And as far as the notes are concerned, it's not too bad. It's just A, and then 4, 3, 2, 1, open on the thickest string. But we have to pay attention to the rhythm. It goes like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And that's a technique called hemiola, where we put little groups of 3. 1 and 2, you know, that's 3 little beats. And 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and then the hemiola ends and we go 3 and 4 and. So you can see how those are each divided into like little 3 beat things. So I want you to just take the time, count it out. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. At your own pace, you know, take all the time you want with it. That's how that goes. When you're ready, let's just see what happens. You know, if you're not ready, you can always just watch this and then try it later. We're gonna put that whole section together with the strumming and everything. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're asking me, will my love grow? I don't know. I don't know. Stick around. We repeat the progression, it may show. And then here we have a different walk down. This one goes. So it's the same rhythm and everything, just we start on a different chord. We start on C, and then for our bass line on the A string, 2, O, and then the 3rd fret of the thickest string, and then we use our middle finger and we're going to play 2, O on the D string. So let's go through that again. C, and then 2, O on the A, 3 on the thickest, 2, O on the D string. All together with the counting. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and from there we go into the solo section, which is the same chords as our verse. So let's try our bridge chord progression, but now going into that C walk down. Starting with A. 1, 2, 3, 4. You stick around, it may show. I don't know. I don't know. Cool, that's it for the chords and the strumming. When it comes to putting this song together, it starts off with this. And then it goes into the verse. And with that part, there's a lead melody, which I'm going to show you in a sec. But first, I want to talk about the ending. The very end of the song, we do our verse as usual. We get up to this part. You know I believe in how. And then we do the same thing as the transition into the bridge. 2 times on the A chord. And then we go and when it comes to putting that all together, we do our intro. We play first verse, second verse. At the end of the second verse, we transition into the bridge. We do our bridge. Then we do the solo, which is the same chords as the verse. We do the final verse, and then we have our outro. So that's the entire tune as far as the chords and strumming are concerned. Now we're going to take a look at that lead melody. And that happens when we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, back into the start of the verse. To play it, we start on the B string at the 10th fret with our index finger. And then we put our ring finger on the 12th fret. We do a quick bend so that it sounds the same as the 13th fret. And then we release. So you can check that by going so we go 10, bend, then back to 10, and then we just play 11, 12, 13, and we just let it sing out. So take a look at that. It's not a very difficult lick. It's all in the same string. Aside from that bend and getting that to be in tune, it's just a few notes. So take a sec with it, and then we'll try it together nice and slow. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and... And when we go into the bridge, we're going to change the last note of this riff. Otherwise, it's the exact same thing. We go... So at the very end there, I played 11, 12, and then I went up 2 frets to the 14th fret. So let's try that. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. All right, so that's everything that you need in order to play Something by the Beatles. If you want to learn how to play the solo, it was actually one of the first lessons that I ever released on this channel. I'll put a link to that in the corner. Don't forget to check out my free ebook. I have one for rhythm guitar, and I forgot to mention, I also have one for lead guitar, and you'll get them both. It's completely free for all my subscribers. There's a link for that too. And if you want to play through this entire thing with me from start to finish, that's available on my Patreon page. It has everything on screen. You can see my hands. You could also just play along with the original recording with everything that we've learned so far. I have a complete beginner's course. If you'd like to help support the channel, that's the best way to do it. It takes you from absolute beginner to confident strummer. So please check that out. Otherwise, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions. Have a fun time practicing, and I'll see you soon.